In the heart of Accra, where skyscrapers gleamed against the sun and the city's pulse never slowed, lived Nana and Amma, a couple once bound by love, but now separated by disappointment. They had been married for years and were blessed with 7 daughters, each as beautiful and talented as the last. But for Nana, their 7 blessings felt like a curse. He had longed for a son, someone to carry his family name and continue his legacy. In a world where tradition still clung to the idea that only a son could fulfill a man's true pride, Nana's frustration grew with each new birth. When their 7th daughter, Afia, was born, Nana's bitterness could no longer be hidden. He stared at the baby, wrapped in a pink blanket, his face dark with anger. "Nana, isn't she beautiful?" Amma asked softly, cradling their newborn in her arms. "She's just another girl," Nana muttered, barely glancing at the baby. 7 girls, Amma. 7! What will people say? Where is my son?" Amma's heart sank. She had seen this coming for years, but hearing it aloud stung like a fresh wound. "Our daughters are a blessing, Nana. They are strong and smart. What does it matter if they are girls?" Nana stood up, his expression hard. "What does it matter?" He spat. "You don't understand, Amma. A man needs a son to carry his name, to inherit what I've built. You've failed me." "Failed you?" Amma's voice trembled with a mixture of disbelief and hurt. "You think I choose whether I have sons or daughters? These are your children too." "They are girls, Amma. I need a boy." Amma's eyes filled with tears, but she refused to cry in front of him. She had loved him, borne him 7 children, but it was never enough for him. She saw it in his face, his pride was wounded, and nothing she could say would change that. That night, without another word, Nana packed his bags and walked out of their home. He left behind the life they had built together, abandoning Amma and their 7 daughters. He didn't look back. Months passed and Nana's absence became a painful reality for Amma and the girls. But Amma, despite her broken heart, refused to let her daughters feel the weight of their father's abandonment. She worked harder, encouraged them more, and filled their home with love and resilience. Meanwhile, Nana had moved to a different part of the city, where he met another woman, Essie, a divorcee with 3 sons. Nana, convinced that his problem lay with Amma, believed Essie was the solution to his desire for a son. She had already given her first husband 3 boys, and Nana thought, if she can give him sons, she will give me one too. He courted Essie quickly, and before long they were married. Essie's 3 sons became part of his new household, and for the first time in a long while, Nana felt at peace. Finally, he believed he was on the path to getting the son he had always wanted. Back in their small apartment, Amma's daughters flourished. Despite the absence of their father, they thrived under their mother's care. Efua, the eldest, was determined to rise above the abandonment. "We don't need him, Mama," she said one night, sitting by her mother's side as they prepared dinner. "We are strong without him." Amma smiled through her tired eyes. "Yes, my daughter, you are all strong." Efua, full of ambition, pursued her dream of becoming a doctor. Following in her footsteps, Akosua, the second-born, studied hard and became a surgeon. Ya, the third, became a pediatrician, while Ajoa became a civil engineer, designing buildings that would shape the skyline of Accra. Sewa, gentle and compassionate, became a nurse, while Abena, always sharp-witted, became a lawyer. The youngest, Afia, pursued accounting, managing the finances of major corporations. Their success was a testament to Amma's strength and their own determination. They bought their mother a beautiful house in one of the city's finest neighborhoods, far from the cramped apartment they had grown up in. Amma now lived in comfort, surrounded by her accomplished daughters. Meanwhile, Nana's new life with Essie was not going as planned. Though he had inherited 3 stepsons, they were not his blood, and deep down, that still bothered him. When Essie became pregnant, Nana's heart raced with excitement. This, he thought, would finally be the moment he had been waiting for. This time he was sure the gods would bless him with a son. The day of the birth came, and Nana waited outside the hospital room, pacing back and forth. He could hardly contain his nerves. Finally, the doctor emerged, his face filled with surprise. "Congratulations, Mr. Nana. You have triplets." Nana's heart soared. Triplets, 3 at once. His joy knew no bounds. Surely, among the 3, there must be a son. The doctor smiled awkwardly. "They're all girls." Nana's world collapsed in an instant. 3 more daughters. Triplets. All girls. The irony of the situation struck him like a cruel joke from the gods. He had left behind 7 daughters, abandoned his family in search of a son, only to end up with 10 girls in total. For days, Nana couldn't look at the newborns. Essie noticed his coldness, but she, too, felt powerless. The 3 boys from her previous marriage could never fill the void in Nana's heart, and now, the daughters she had borne him only seemed to widen the distance between them. Years passed, and word of Nana's situation reached the old neighborhood. People whispered about the man who had left his 7 daughters in search of a son, only to father 3 more girls. The story spread like wildfire, and eventually it reached Efua and her sisters. One afternoon, while visiting their mother, Efua turned to her sisters. "We need to confront him. He needs to see what he gave up." Amma, sitting nearby, looked at them with concern. "Do not trouble yourselves over him. He made his choice." But Efua's mind was made up. "Mama, we're not doing this for him. We're doing this for us." The next day, dressed in their finest clothes, the 7 sisters arrived at Nana's new house. They were women of power, now doctors, engineers, lawyers, professionals. When they knocked, it was Essie who opened the door, her eyes widening at the sight of the 7 beautiful women before her. "We've come to see our father," Efua said firmly. Nana, hearing their voices, hesitated for a moment before stepping out. His eyes widened as he saw his daughters taller, stronger, more successful than he had ever imagined. "Efua, Akosua, all of you." Nana's voice cracked. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. "What are you doing here?" "We came to remind you of what you left behind," Efua said, her voice steady but cutting. "You left us because we weren't boys. You thought we couldn't carry your name. But look at us now." Nana was speechless. His eyes darted from one daughter to the next, each more accomplished than the last. Doctors, engineers, lawyers, his daughters had become everything a father could dream of, and he had turned his back on them. "We are your legacy," Yah said, stepping forward. "We carried your name whether you were with us or not. And now, you must live with the choices you made." Tears filled Nana's eyes. "I was wrong," he whispered, his voice filled with regret. "I thought I needed a son, but I see now that I was blind. You are more than I ever could have hoped for." Amma, who had stood quietly behind them, finally stepped forward. Her voice was soft but firm. "Nana, we have moved on. Our daughters have become everything you never believed they could be. But forgiveness, that is something you will have to earn." The daughters, standing tall and proud beside their mother, turned and left without another word. Nana watched them go, the weight of his mistakes pressing down on him like never before. He had spent his life chasing the illusion of a son, only to realize far too late that the daughters he had abandoned were the true carriers of his name, his pride, and his legacy.